Welcome, everyone. Hope you're having a good day so far. Welcome to the Surrey Police Service Experienced Officer online info session. This is the second one we've done, so bear with us if there's some glitches. We are learning this as we go. So some people probably will continue to trickle in, but we're going to get started because this is the time we said we'd start. So thank you for taking the time out of your day. My name is Rich Kent. I'm one of the sergeants here on the experienced officer side. Before we get started, I just want to let you know we really value your confidentiality. So we've put some restrictions in place to keep your identity as confidential as possible. There is a Q&A function that we can use for if you have any questions midway through or at the end, you can type questions in. And you just need to remember to click the button that says post anonymously, and that won't show any name or anything like that. It'll show anonymous user. So that's there for you if you want it. Another option is for you to just raise your hand on Teams, and we can answer those questions as they come in live. It's probably better if we try to save those for the end, but if you've got something really burning that you need to ask, just do that and we can pause and answer that question. We'll do a couple introductions first and then get started. So like I said, I'm Rich Kent. I'm one of the sergeants here in recruiting. I've been in Surrey for just over 3.5 years now. Prior to that, I worked at Vancouver Police for about 17. So in my career, I've worked patrol. I walked the beat downtown. I was on bicycles. I was a hostage negotiator for 11 years. Moved over to the invest world. Worked in property crime, sex crimes, child abuse, the forensic interview team. Out to CFSCU, where I worked on some organized crime files for about 4 years, and then with that experience, took that back and was the legal application support team for Vancouver up until the time when I patched over to Surrey. So it's been fantastic at Surrey so far. Everyone, has joined on purpose. We have a unified reason to build this department. And I've been in recruiting since I started, and it's been fantastic, helping build this department that is one day going to be the largest in the Lower Mainland. So thank you again for taking the time out of your day to join us, and I'll pass it over to Cindy.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it. Welcome everybody. Thank you also again for taking the time out of your day, like Rich said, to sit and listen to us for a little bit. We appreciate it, and we hope you get something out of it as well. For me, I also came from Vancouver Police Department. I spent just about 29 years in Vancouver. So about a third of that time was frontline patrol, worked all 4 districts in Vancouver. I was early on, got onto the bike program. So I've been doing bikes and protests and marches and all those things in Vancouver during my career. I then went to become a firearms instructor at the range. I was also in strike force, so I did a few years in surveillance. Also did school liaison, so I was a school liaison officer for about 5 years, and then I got promoted from there and was assigned to professional standards. Obviously not by choice, but was my assignment for my inside time. And then I went to HR for a little bit and did career development, help members through promotional processes, internal postings, helping them prepare for interviews and things like that. So that was actually a kind of a natural progression into recruiting, which was something that I'd always wanted to do. So I had an opportunity to be the sergeant in recruiting in Vancouver for just about 4 years. And then for me, the great opportunity to be able to continue doing what I love to do, but also collect a pension. So back in June of 2023, I was able to retire from Vancouver. And as we all know, timing is everything. So Surrey was coming along. So it went from being my biggest competitor as a recruiting sergeant to my next job. So it was I will say it was, and I probably can kind of relate to a lot of you that are sitting listening to this. It wasn't an easy decision. Although it sounds like, oh yeah, well, how couldn't have been that hard? You're now you're double dipping and all that kind of stuff. But there's a real sense, I think, for a lot of us, a sense of loyalty and a sense of, you know what, this is all I know, and I can't imagine doing this somewhere else. At least that was my experience. And I always say I bled VPD blue, but the blinders were taken off when I arrived here in Surrey, and I was able to actually see the forest for the trees, and actually have had an amazing little over 2 years in the recruiting section here. As one of the sergeants, I've worked on both sides of the new recruit, and now, of course, on the experienced officer side. And it has been phenomenal. It was the best decision, even though it was a challenging one to make initially, even with all the challenges within the time that I've been here with, is it happening, is it not happening? You know, all those weird and wonderful things that you've probably read about on the news. We've been riding it on the inside, but things are smooth waters now. And of course, nothing's perfect. We've certainly got our challenges, but it has been a great opportunity. And I would say the biggest thing has been, because I've been in recruiting and on the experienced officer side, being able to meet so many amazing people from all over the country that have got great experience in all these different police agencies, and bringing their expertise and their passion to SPS, and being a part of something where they're not just in it for the sake of, you know, a job. They're actually the people that we're looking for, and the people that are coming are really wanting to be a part of something pretty special and putting their fingerprint on developing something new. So yeah, that's my story in a nutshell. Enough about me. Let's get into this information that you guys are looking for, hopefully. And like Rich said, please feel free to ask any questions. We've got some folks on the backside that are administering the Q&A, but like Rich said, also, if you can wait, we have a Q&A session at the end. We'd love to hear from you guys, whether you want to speak up verbally or just ask us questions on the chat or the Q&A. We are happy to answer those questions. And then, of course, we'll provide you with our contact information for our team if you want to connect with us individually offline. All right, so SPS today, and what are the next steps? So before we get into too much, I would just kind of important for people to know, where are you guys at in Surrey? I think everybody hears lots on the news, or at least for a time there, it was the topic of the day, but we're actually moving along quite well. So we currently have 583 sworn members that have been hired. The last class just started on September the 9th. So for experienced officers. And then, of course, the JI classes that are happening as usual, the January, May, and September. So 583. In order to actually complete the first sort of official full transition to being only SPS in Surrey, we need to reach 785. Well, we're not going to stop there. As you can imagine, that's not nearly enough. And we will be continuing to build and moving along and becoming one of the largest, if not the largest, agency in the Lower Mainland in no short order. Of course, that also includes all the civilian members. We currently have 484 civilian members, some new that have come over, lots of postings. If you know of anybody that's looking for a position that's a civilian employee that wants to look for some opportunities, there's quite a few civilian jobs that are being posted. They often come with us when we go to career fairs. But if you know of anybody that is interested in a career here as a civilian, there's lots of those as well, because as you know, it's teamwork. We couldn't do it without them. And so that makes 1,067 officially that we have currently. So where we're at in terms of sworn positions and the frontline, as we call it here. I know other agencies, whether it's GD or patrol or whatnot, we call it frontline here. So the progression that we're making there is districts 1 and 3, fully SPS. So no RCMP working in those two districts. It's all RCMP leadership, and everybody in the front line is SPS. And we just recently in July took over the west side of District 5, so that's South Surrey. And we have, to be honest, I don't know exactly what the border is, but it's the west half of District 5 is all SPS. And then the other part of that, as well as districts 2 and 4, are still RCMP. So, and that's SPOSU. So, provincial support, Surrey provincial support unit. So, they are obviously still helping us out while we build, and Rich and I and the rest of our team find the members to take over. The east half of District 5 will be taking over that in November, so just around the corner. And that's also coming up pretty quickly here. Our next experienced officer class starts October 27th, and that's a 5-week process, but we'll quickly getting more frontline members for them to take that over in November. And then District 4 will be in 2026 at some point. So lots of opportunities for people, especially frontline in those positions, and will continue to be as we grow. The current postings beyond frontline, obviously frontline is still the main one, but as you can see from the slide, we also have lots of specialty opportunities, which is again unique to coming to Surrey as an experienced officer. No one else is, for the most part, is offering that. So the list there is the positions that we still have openings in, and that list will actually grow at some point, or we will reopen some that we previously had open, but we're just waiting to hear which ones those will be. So currently we've got the the collision investigation unit, cybercrime team, and those two, if you've seen on our website, also offer some signing bonuses, which I'll get to in a little bit. The frontline investigative support team, so similar to general investigative support teams in the RCMP, it's a rotation 4 on 4 off and connected to the frontline to assist with crime scenes and initial stages of investigations, or all stages of investigations of the sort of more, not minor, but a lot of the investigations other than major crime. We also have the Internet Trial and Exploitation team, serious crime unit. All these teams that are happening, they're at this point they're just developing. So the great thing also about these postings, if anyone is to be successful in joining any one of these teams, is you're still at the early stages of building them and expanding them. So if anyone's interested in being a part of something where you get to have a seat at the table and have a voice to discuss what those teams are going to look like, how they're going to function. Obviously, we've got a blueprint at this point, and we have people in place and leaders in place that are setting those up the way they like them. But there's also opportunity for people to come in with other ideas and bring those forward in those teams. You'll notice in the last point there in bold is the general posting, general experienced officer posting. So the reason why we have that one, it's not for you to put in if you're looking to go to frontline. It's the posting that you would put your name into and your application into if you don't see a position that we currently have listed of one of those lists of postings, but you're in anticipation or hoping for something to come along. So what we're asking people to do, and that includes anyone of rank, so anyone that's a sergeant that is maybe hoping that we have some sergeant positions coming, which we may have, is for you to put your application in there, and with your resume, your cover letter, fill out the integrity and lifestyle questionnaire, and in your cover letter, in that cover letter, you want to describe sort of what it is that you're looking for, what you believe your skill sets would fit, and what positions that you're hoping that we will be able to provide, or you're not sure, whether you're eligible for one of the ones that are posted and you want to have more of a discussion on that. So that at that point, someone from our team, likely myself or Rich, or one of our members, will contact you and have a conversation about what it is that you're looking for and what your skill set is at, and then we will sort of determine what that looks like. So the benefit for you to do that is that we then start collecting those names and those resumes for the executive, who are the ones that are deciding what jobs we're going to sort of post next and where we're going next in terms of expanding teams. They can then see, okay, we've got these people kind of in the lineup here that are interested and actually put an application in, and these are their qualifications. And then they can sort of see, okay, we've got some people that are to the point where they put an application in, they're interested and ready to apply. we should look at maybe standing up this particular team. So let me take, for example, let's just say you are interested in working surveillance. We will be expanding that section. So, but we don't have it posted externally yet. So you would put your application into that pool. You give us all your experience. It shows what surveillance experience you have. You've got that in your cover letter. You discuss with us that's your goal, is to come over here in a surveillance capacity. And then we add your name to a confidential list. And I will reiterate, all of this is confidential, clearly. Like Rich said, we take your identity very seriously in terms of not spreading that around. We know how that can negatively impact people, thus all the anonymity that we want to have in this case. So that list is just kept for recruiting eyes only, as well as relevant executive, so that they can make decisions moving forward. So that's the benefit to that posting, and sort of getting your foot in the door, because we've had lots of conversations with people that are thinking about it, but they haven't seen something they like yet. They don't really want to take that step, but then we can't pass that on and say, look, when we can say to the executive and the people that are deciding what's next, we've got people that are interested, but until we actually have applications in hand, it doesn't quite have the same impact. So then we've got the list that we could pass on to show them exactly these people are here and ready to move forward. And I will say also with that is, nothing's written in stone either. If you change your mind, if you decide you want to pull your application, you want to put it on hold, you are not ready for whatever reason, we just do that. We can put it on hold. We can stop the process. We can close your file. There's nothing that's holding your feet to the fire to say, well, you put in, so therefore you're all in now. So that's not how we operate. Next part here, the signing bonuses. Yes, the money. So $20,000 signing bonus. Again, those you may have already seen this on social media, on our website. We have that for anyone that's experienced officers that are eligible under the Canadian Police agencies, and that's excluding anyone that's currently working in the SPOSU unit in Surrey, and I'll get to that. But if you are an eligible, experienced officer in Canada, in the Lower Mainland, and you are hired to work frontline, you are eligible for the $20,000 signing bonus. Taxes obviously are going to be deducted from that, but that will come after you're hired, and it will be on about the second paycheck after you're hired. Full amount, not sort of in stages. It's minus taxes. It's into your bank account. So those again, that's just for patrol and GD frontline. Those frontline constable positions that would receive that. There is some extra pieces to that where you are required to stay in frontline for 2 years in order to receive that bonus. But that's the sort of the piece to encourage some frontline members to join us. The $25,000 is where it's available for people that are currently policing in Surrey as we speak. So if anyone's currently working in one of our districts in Surrey that was previously Surrey RCMP or came over from another RCMP detachment to work with in SPOSU, you are eligible for the $25,000 signing bonus. Again, a requirement to stay in frontline for the 2-year period.
Cindy, can I just jump in quick there?
Please do.
With that 2 years, if you're in the range of 8 years or more and eligible for promotion, you are eligible to promote prior to that 2 years expiring.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Rich. Absolutely. Okay. Then we have the 2 special unit signing bonuses. So as I alluded to earlier, we have the collision investigation unit. So if you have your level 3 collision analyst or level 4 collision reconstructionist, then you are eligible to receive the $25,000 signing bonus. Again, lump sum on your paycheck after you are hired, and it goes to those that are eligible. We have a limit to those, and we don't, it's not unlimited, but obviously there's a small group that fits those categories. So if you're one of them and you're interested, that's a nice little bonus for you if you are hired here with us into the CIU. And then the other one is the Cybercrime Investigation Unit. Anyone that's got experience in cybercrime as a cybercrime investigator, you'd be eligible for a $15,000 signing bonus. All right. And the moving stipend or the moving allowance. So if you are coming from outside of the Lower Mainland, and we all know that it's not cheap, not cheap to live here, but also not cheap to move. So if you are hired with us moving forward, you are eligible for up to $10,000 reimbursement for any moving expenses. Anything that's not covered under the CRA that you can't claim on your taxes, but we have all the details on that. What's eligible. There's a form to fill out after you've been here for a little bit. Everything gets settled down. You're not going to get it in advance, but you get hired, you arrive here, you're settled here, and then you collate and collect all your receipts and submit some forms. You are eligible for up to $10,000 reimbursement that cover some of those expenses for the move. And what's the process? Okay, so a lot of people ask us questions about this. I think we all have still have some memories of our experience as recruits and what the process, a daunting 12-stage process of getting hired as a recruit, and all the steps that took when we got into this career in the first place. Not the same here for experienced officers, obviously. Like I mentioned, you would go on to the online application through our website. So you would want to go to surreypoliceservice.ca/careers, and then go on to the Experienced Officer tab and click down to job opportunities, current job opportunities, and you'll see the list. So you want to click on whatever one and just pick one. Even though you may be interested in more than one, just pick the one. We will have further conversations and discussions if there's possibility that you might be eligible or interested in something else. And or click the general one, as I mentioned earlier. So you go in, create your profile on our portal. You need to fill out, upload your resume, your cover letter, fill out the ILQ, so the integrity and lifestyle questionnaire. And no, it's not similar to the recruit one. It doesn't go into all your deepest, darkest secrets of your entire life, but there are some questions that we will be asking for you to fill out about personal habits and experiences and things that you're involved in or have been involved in. And then you also upload, usually a driver's license is easiest. You just send us a copy of that and submit that. Once you've submitted those documents, one of us on our recruiting team will screen it. So we just make sure you've got the basic requirements that we need as experienced officer, go through the questionnaires and everything that you filled out, and then we will contact you to set up an interview. It's fairly straightforward from there. Again, if there's a question as to which one or what you're looking for, or you put into the general one, then we will actually for sure have a conversation with you in advance before we set up an interview, because if we don't have a posting set yet, we won't interview you yet. So we'll just screen you, have a conversation with you, figure out what it is that you're interested in, and then we'll put you on hold and wait for the next steps for that. But if you have applied to a specific position, whether it be frontline or one of the ISB positions, then we will set up a behavioral interview with you. So if you are from out of the Lower Mainland, we can do that on Teams, or we can arrange, maybe you're here visiting family or what have you, and we'll work with your schedule to do it in person if possible. But it's basically, again, just two of us, could be two detectives, could be one of myself or Rich and one of the detectives, that it has fairly informal, but yet still formal interview, generally around 8 to 10 questions, nothing too intense. Again, it's not similar to the recruit process, just wanting to expand on your resume. So we'll have read your resume and your cover letter. We just want to talk to you a little bit more about some highlights, get to know your skills, your KSAs a little bit better, what you bring to the table, and what your motivation is, and some examples of when you've demonstrated some skills like leadership and conflict resolution and things like that. So again, not something to get too stressed out about, and just gives us a chance to meet you in person and get to know you. If you're applying to one of the positions that are the investigative positions that I listed before, we will also try to bring in somebody from that team, usually the sergeant or the staff sergeant, to be one of the two people that you interview with, because clearly you're going to be successful, you'll be working for them. So it makes sense for them to be involved in that process. If you're successful at the interview, which we will generally, well, we try to tell you right away, if not at the interview, shortly after, you're then moved on to the background investigation. So for the background investigation, you are assigned a background investigator, one of our team members, and they will then be your point of contact moving forward. They'll be sending you forms to fill out, your references. You require 6 professional references and 4 personal references, and some attestations that you're fit for duty and some proof of your employment and things like that. And then they'll work with you moving from there to take care of your reference interviews and just determine anything. If you haven't previously done a polygraph, and you've been on for less than 5 to 7 years with your current agency, we will have you do a polygraph with us. But if you've done one before, and you're hired and everything's fine in that department, then we don't actually ask you to do a polygraph with us as well. So that's one stage. There's a potential, depending on some situations, if there is any potential for various mental health issues or challenges, we may ask for a psych assessment. But part of the general process is to move you to background, cover off your references, and move forward from there. Your references also, again, to speak to the confidentiality piece and the piece about keeping things under wraps until we know we want to hire somebody. We will communicate with you when we're calling people, who we're calling. That's the people that you tell us are the people we will speak to. If we need to speak to somebody else, we will let you know that. And if you decide no, you don't want us to speak to that person, that may result in us not moving forward. But we're not going to blindside you with all of a sudden we talk to somebody that you weren't expecting us to talk to. We also will leave, if you haven't listed your direct supervisor or somebody like that on your list of references, we will leave that person to closer to the end when everything is looking good, and then let you know, okay, now we need to talk to you, because of course we're going to need to talk to your current direct supervisor. And so we will let you know of that before then. If all that goes well, it gets approved, our team writes up a presentation document, submits it through the chain, officer reviews it, chief constable designate reviews it and approves it. That's when you get the phone call to give you a verbal offer. This is still not where you're going to go and give your resignation letter or any of that kind of stuff. It's just saying, hey, look, we've been approved to hire you. Now we just have to get a few more things done. So we send you a conditional offer letter that just allows you to review everything that we are offering you as a job, be clear on what everything is, wages and everything else, sign off on some attestations again. And then that's when we'll let you know, okay, now we're actually going to contact your department. So we have to get an official HR and PSS checks for your agency to make sure that there's nothing pending, no complaints, no issues that we need to be aware of prior to actually giving you a formal job offer, which is the final stage. And you get a legal binding job offer to be employed by the Surrey Police Service. Following from that, we do have an onboarding process that is a little bit more intensive, encompassing than most other agencies, again, because we're all coming from so many different, like 28 different police agencies across the country, as you can imagine. Not everyone does things the same way. So, and also if you're from out of province, we need to get people on board with Prime and policy and BC law and things like that. But it's a 5-week process for those that are from the BC and a 6-week for those that are outside the province. And the majority of that is just getting people refreshed and up to speed on how we do things in terms of the more operational aspect of things, like IRD and codified takedowns, high risk arrests, and those things. So that and you're also going to be doing your use of force qualifications, firearms, and everything else. So The expectation is that if you are coming and you're starting on a particular date, which, like, for example, the next class starts October the 27th, that you are available for that full period in order to be eligible to be part of that class. And I will say that, some people that are maybe coming for investigative positions might not be too keen on that. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But it actually is some really good training. I think you'll be very impressed by our training facility. It's state of the art. Our team is very passionate and a strong training team. And I think, at least I know I enjoyed that process and getting back out there. And for anyone that isn't currently sort of frontline at the moment, it was knocking some of that rust off and having a really good, supportive, qualified training staff to put you through those things. So that's that piece. The next topic is more a little bit about what it is that SPS is all about here. And one of those aspects is member wellness. We don't just say it, we actually really believe it. And it's becoming more and more evident, at least for myself, as we are going along, as our agency and the people are in the places that are driving these initiatives are able to have the time and the ability and the resources to do that, that this is something we really take seriously. So not only the things that are listed on the screen there, but for example, we just had this opportunity to participate in something called NIA Health Program, which is a private company that came in. We got a free blood work done, and then we had discount for any additional testing and blood work that we wanted to get done to have a full profile done on our current health, and then some things suggested to us that we might want to address and to be proactive in our health. So it was a huge success, I think, and they initially were only going to give it to 75 people, and there was so much interest they kept expanding it, and even to our spouses. So really something that shows that they care about us and wanting us to be our best mentally and physically. The wellness leave, that's something a little bit unique, I would say, to Surrey, and it's fantastic. Everybody gets 40 hours of wellness leave every year. So that's for you to use at your discretion. You just, you don't want to use a sick day, but you just think, you know what, I need a day. It cannot be denied. You let your supervisor know that you're taking a wellness day, and you have the day off. So you have 40 of those hours every year for that. Sick leave, I think what is maybe one of the things that some people, especially those that have got a fair bit of experience at their current agency that have a large sick bank, you are going to lose that. You can't bring that with you. And when you first start here, you're going to start with 80 hours. I know that's probably seems like a little bit hard to take maybe at first. We also have a union. We have people support. We have other things if something were to happen, but you do need to recognize that it is only 80 when you first on your first day. And then at each calendar year, you get another 160. So 80 in June and 80 in December. And then another 80 at your anniversary date. So by the end of it all, you've got 240 hours, if I did the math right, and then it keeps building from there. So statutory holiday leave is also a little bit different here, and at least it's different from what I'm used to in Vancouver. You get 130 hours upfront beginning of every year, and that's those 10 hours and 13 stats, right? So depends on where you work. For someone like myself, I work Tuesday to Friday, so those generally stats are on Mondays, so I can get those. I get those, and those aren't going to be taken away. But for someone like Rich, who works Monday to Thursday, he's going to use some of that time up because he's going to be off that day, which is normally a work day. So, but it is something that you can use and bank it and use it for leave throughout the year.
Can I just pop in there, Cindy? If you're working on the front line with that, with the stats, you also you retain those 10 hours in your stat bank, and you get paid double time. So you're essentially making triple time when you work a stat, and you can use those stat hours that you bank as protected leave. So you can book those in advance, and put them on the lens, for court services and have protected leave based on those stat leaves, which I don't think any other agency does.
Nice. Thank you for that. And then supplemental leave, I think everybody's used to that. Additional 40 hours of leave at the start of your 16th, 21st, 26th, 31st year, all that stuff. And then parental or maternity leave, there's a 95% top up of your gross weekly earnings for 52 weeks. So pretty good program there for those that falls into. Find my cursor here. And that is it for my portion. I'll hand it over to Rich.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Cindy. So yeah, lots of benefits to come to SPS. I think our like medical and extra benefits is really what puts us over the top for a lot of comparison agencies. One big thing is our extended health benefits are for you and every dependent in your family. I know, for example, the RCMP, you have different benefits for the member than the family, and sometimes even different, like Canada Life versus Manulife, different carriers. So keeps it really easy. Everyone in your family gets the same benefits. The only exclusion to that is laser surgery, where the member gets $2,000 to put towards laser surgery, whereas your dependents do not. But the rest of it, it's all the same. We get, $5,000 for massage and chiro combined a year. If you have kids in sports or a spouse that enjoys that, they have all those same benefits. If you're a field trainer, I don't know if you've heard, but the JI, the Police Academy, recently expanded their scope of capacity. So we are looking for people willing to field train because we're going to have that much more recruits coming through. Our field trainers make an extra 7.5% for every hour that they train. So, you do a full shift as a field trainer, you get 7.5% more. That money is pensionable. So keep that in mind as well. That's actually a huge benefit. For those of us in positions like Invest or any section where you wear plainclothes, we are given $1,200 a year for plainclothes. And if you are down the road in a mentorship into an Invest unit, they break that down into like a daily rate. So if you're on loan to an Invest team, something like that, you'll get that clothing allowance, but not the full $1,200 on the outset. One of the other things that really sets us apart is our schedule. It is 4 on 4 off, like most have for frontline, but Surrey Police did something that I've never heard of before, and they first of all researched all the shifting that obviously covers the 24 hours in the day, but they also looked at it from a perspective of member wellness and getting you the maximum amount of rest. So they researched this across North America. They came up with a few options. They put it to a vote to the people that were actually working the front line at that time. And the craziest part that I have never heard ever before in any other police department is they picked what people picked. And the schedule is fantastic, especially if you've got a family. You go from 4 days of days, 5:30 to 5:30, and then 4 off. And then you go to 4 night shifts, which actually start at 8:15 until 6:30 in the morning. So you can have dinner with your family and then go work your night shifts. That also gives you that extra time on that first night shift in between shifts just for more rest. And then after your nights, you have 4 days off again, and you go into afternoons, which again gives you that half a day extra rest between shifts. Where I came from in Vancouver, it was kind of the opposite. It went days, afternoons, late afternoons, and then nights. And so the time between nights and days, you really only had 3 days. This gives you a full 4 days off of rest in between, which is great for, again, the member wellness perspective. Next slide, Cindy. The other things that we have are obviously a state-of-the-art equipment. We have, 511 uniforms that are great. Our duty belts, we all are offered ergonomic back support belts if you want it. We use a Glock. All of our boots, you can have whatever boot you want that fits in the list, but within reason, they'll get you the boots that you want. And our training people are great. We have the professional development side of training, which is the courses and all of that side of it. And then we also have the operational training facility. They all work out of the same place, but we've got a massive indoor training center close to our main detachment, where all of the use of force training is done. There's a state-of-the-art fitness gym that was just installed there. We now run our new recruit POPATs out of there. And we have a fitness coordinator who is part of our staff, part of our team, and here to help you with your training goals, fitness goals, things like that, if you want to take part of that. As far as the professional development side of it goes, there's a lot of courses available, and we have it set up that, obviously we can take CPKN courses, the Canadian Police Knowledge Network courses. They're all available for you for free, just like I think the RCMP use Agora. But as far as development courses at the Canadian Police College in Ottawa, at the JIBC, every year when you do your assessment with your supervisor, you go through and you get to pick the courses that you're interested in for your career development. And we have a training committee that goes through those, and every employee gets up to 2 courses every year if they want it. So for a lot of our friends in more rural policing areas that are, maybe your workload is a little heavier and you don't have as many support people around you, getting a course is hard. Here it is not. You do have access to a lot more courses in professional development to get you to those cool places that you want to work in your career, right? Cindy and I have both done very interesting and rewarding things, and those courses help get you where you want to be. So for me, it's a really important, impactful part of what we offer. The other thing is with your uniform and with your plainclothes. If you wear a suit to work, you throw it in a bag at the end of your shift, and in 4 days, it's returned, ironed, and delivered back to the PD. They pick it up after you're 4 off or you're 4 on, and then it's there again when you start. And it's both for frontline people and plainclothes. So that's a huge benefit. It's all paid for by SPS, and you don't have to do your own laundry. If you decide to go into an investigative team, we call it ISB, Investigative Services Bureau. Most teams, there's serious crime, there's FLIS, the frontline investigative side. All of the victim-centered units have on-call compensation. The proactive sides, they don't right now, but they might in the future. And it's all case dependent. Right now, we're dealing with an extortion series. So there's a lot of on-call happening in our invest side right now. But the general rule is when you're on call, regardless if you get called out or not, you're getting paid 15 hours a week. For that week you're on call. And obviously, if you get called out during that week, you still get those 15 hours, but you're brought in at double time for the hours that you work extra.
And I'll jump in just to go back a little bit to the training in the sense that the other side of the coin is that anyone that's coming from Vancouver, you're used to having to take courses to get your increments. We do not do that here. You will get your increments as soon as you're eligible to get them. You do not need to take a bunch of courses on your own time, at your own pay, on your own cost. and then write an exam and then get your increment. It's straight up, it's your time and you will get your increments as you go.
Thanks for pointing that out. It's a good call. We do have the odd increment course through the year that, or mandatory training that we do take.
Yes.
I think there's one every year that we do. But you're paid for that day and sometimes even brought in on overtime if your shifting requires that. Something really exciting. I'm not sure if anyone on here is from Alberta. Obviously, we don't know because you're anonymous, but if you are, this is breaking news. So late last year, I had reached out to the Special Forces Pension Plan, the Alberta Police, Municipal Police Pension Plan, and asked them why they hadn't been part of the National Transfer Agreement. Long story short, they said that no one had ever asked. So now that we asked, they got it done. And it is now effective. As of November 1st of this year, it's effective. So the Special Forces Pension Plan is part of the National Transfer Agreement now. That allows you, if you're in Alberta, to essentially use your pensionable service, what you've earned over the years of your career, whether it's 1 year or 25 years, and you can use that to purchase service in the MPP, the Municipal Pension Plan that we pay into here in BC. This is huge. It was a barrier before to people not wanting to leave Alberta or their agency there to come here, and now that opens this up. And if you are from Alberta, I know it snows there a lot. The picture on the screen there, I took while camping, actually only about half an hour from my house, and that's in the fall. So it's a little incentive for you to port that pension over. It's very much worth the increase in housing costs to live somewhere like this.
Agreed.
That's my LMD plug. Another really exciting thing we have is the alternate retirement option. We call it ARO. It actually is two things. So one thing is it allows you to, it's hard to explain. If you can reach your 80 factor, and people from BC will know what that means, years of service plus your age is 80. That gives us our earliest unreduced pension number. That's the date that kind of kicks in with this. So if you reach that date before March 31st, 2029, you are eligible to participate in this program. And what the program is you hire on with us, and you either retire fully from your agency if you already meet that, and you come to us as a double dipper, or if you, let's say you reach your 80 factor in December 2028, you come to us now, you patch over, and you declare to us that you're going to take part in this program. And as long as you're a officer in good standing by the time that date kicks in, so you're not suspended or things like that, basically you can retire, and then the very next day you start again, continuing in the role you're in, the same rank, same badge number, same position. You keep all of your leave banks. Everything is the same. You're a full unionized member. You're not on contract, and you receive your full SPS salary and benefits. The benefits also for all your family, like I mentioned, and then you also receive your pension fund. So this is huge, and if you have further questions about it, we can have offline conversations. But the biggest thing is that March 31st, 2029 date, you must be eligible between now and then. And then the other part is it's a little bit scarce. So you have to be hired with SPS before December 31st of this year to participate. We have asked that date get bumped. It's going forward towards the to the police board, but we don't have any information if that's going to be approved or not. So right now, as of today, you must have joined SPS as a sworn member prior to December 31st of this year, and reach your 80 factor prior to March 31st, 2029. Again, if you want specific questions answered, we're going to give you all our contacts at the end to reach out, as it's a bit of a complicated thing to explain, but it's a huge benefit if you are near the end of your career but still have gas in the tank and want to help develop a police department. So we're literally building from the ground up. We need experience, and that's where this comes in.
And just to add to that, just because I've had some people be confused about this too. 80 factor, it's not always necessarily, I mean, we're all used to it being our 80 factor, but I have spoken to other members that started later in their careers, and it's regardless of that calculation. If say you started later on in your life, it may not be the 80 factor, but whatever it says on your pension statement as your earliest unreduced, that date is the date. So if that date is before March 29th, 2029, then you are eligible. The other piece is not only are you going to, because I'm benefiting from this, not only are you going to be getting your full pension, but you're also, and then your full wage of what you're doing here, whatever that might be, but you're also going to get almost 15% added to your wage here, which is what the agency would be paying anyway, if you were contributing to the pension here, which you won't be because you already got your pension in the same plan, right? So that's the additional 15%. So you get your, whatever your pension is going to be calculated on what you've done so in your career. So you get that from the MPP, you get your wage from here, and it's got an additional almost 15% right now, because the city isn't paying on your behalf to the pension corp. So it's significant. Let's put it that way. But again, like we're saying is, that's not obviously the only reason why I came, and not the only reason why the people that we want to have come are coming here. It's because we also have gas in the tank, and we are expecting people to want to do that, still be very passionate and hardworking and come here with all that stuff, still wanting to go. But it is something that is very lucrative as well for us, which is nice. So,
For sure.
All right.
Yeah, so here's another little bit on it. So you have to be currently serving or recently retired within 3 years. That goes for being hired with us at all. So the police services has a 3-year rule. So if you've been retired more than 3 years, you're no longer eligible to be an experienced police officer. There is very rare exceptions to that rule. You basically have to get an exemption from the JI, and it's a process for us, and there needs to be a good reason why we need your specialized skill. But so it's not a no, but it's a difficult yes. So again, you need to join SPS prior to December 31st, 2025, and have your earliest unreduced Group 5 pension by March 31st, 2029. And there's on the slide, there's the last part there. If you joined later, you have to have at least 15 years of contributory service at the time you retire. Our next onboarding class, our next start date for experienced officers is October 27th. That is currently the last opportunity this year prior to that December 31st date to join us. So if you fall into that category, as soon as we're done here, reach out to us and let's start your application. So yeah, more of the benefits here. You receive your full senior constable pay, 115% of a first-class constable rate. All of these rates are on our website. You collect your full pension, maintain your seniority, your position, everything else stays the same. Your leave banks, you don't reset your sick bank or your annual leave or anything. If you are at rank, you continue to be in that rank, and you get that 14.67. I think that number varies maybe year to year with cost of living allowances. They're gonna vary that, but as of right now, it's close to 15% in lieu of. So it's the city's contributions that normally they would pay to the MPP. You're not doing that anymore, so they just give it directly to you. and you're a full SPS member, you can promote within, apply to special units, any internal opportunities. We don't have contracts that limit you to frontline only or to working in the same position for the rest of your career like some other agencies do. So additional notes here, do your own homework, go to the MPP for your pension eligibility if you are currently MPP. And this part of the program really only matters to people currently in the MPP. If you're coming from Alberta or you're coming from the RCMP, you are either going to port your pension over. It's not just Alberta that has the transfer. It's every other pension or most other pension plans are part of that national transfer agreement. Alberta is just the most recent one to join. But if you're not at your earliest and reduced yet, wherever you're working, you'll patch that service over and basically purchase MPP service, which then will work towards your retirement. So if you are ready to retire as an RCMP officer, you would probably cash in start collecting your pension and then start contributing to the MPP. And, after 5 years, you collect a second pension from us, smaller, obviously, but the city still gives you that 14.67%. It just goes into your pension plan with the MPP. So I'm not part of the ARO, but the city still contributes 14.67% into my pension plan for me when I do start collecting. So everyone's situation is unique. We can get you in touch with financial planners. There's a couple out there, especially in the Lower Mainland, that are very well aware of all of the nuances with police pensions, and they're a pretty good resource. So again, if you have questions specific to that, reach out, and any members of our team, although we are not financial advisors, we can point you in the right direction. And I think that's it for the what we have presented for you. So now we'd open it up for you guys for any questions that you might have. Feel free to put your hand up or type something in the Q&A. Give it a couple minutes.
Or we will also I'll put our team's contact information up here. If you know any one of us and you want to reach out to anyone in particular, feel free to do so, or any one of us can help you with any questions that you have, maybe offline. Give us a phone call, maybe send us an email, and we'll set up a time. We'll put some time aside for you to have a conversation and answer whatever questions you might have that you don't want to ask at this point. But yeah, that's our role here as certainly as experienced officers. As well as the rest of our team that works on the recruit side. They're all experienced officers as well. They've all come through this process. So we've all done what you're considering doing. Hopefully you're considering doing. So we can certainly help you with some of the questions you might have from that perspective. We know what it's like, right? I mean, that's when I'm sitting there, or when we're sitting there in front of somebody at the interview stage, like we know what you guys are feeling like because we were in your seat too. So it's a little bit different versus, going to another agency that's not in a situation that we're in. Like you're one of the only new people but yet you're still experienced, right? You're only seen as your PIN number and you're like, oh, who's that new guy? But you actually are a girl and actually you've been around for a while. Whereas we've all been there. We're all experienced or exempts or whatever you want to call it. So it's a different feel there. But yeah, we're happy to chat with you, email, talk on the phone, meet for coffee. That's what we're here to do. So if anyone has any questions, please let us know and put up your hand now and send us a Q&A, but we'll give it a few minutes here and see if anyone's got anything. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. We know everybody's very busy, lots of, whether you're a shift work or doing whatever you're doing, but thank you very much for your time. We appreciate spending it with us this afternoon, and hopefully this was helpful.
Cindy, we have
there are a couple questions here.
Okay.
First one is a question related to the McNeils and what the SPS standard for hiring is. So if you have a record on your McNeil, we obviously have to disclose that. That comes out in our ILQ portion. When you apply, you have to list anything you have there. It is all case by case. You know, a lot of members get complaints substantiated over the years, so it's not uncommon. And we basically triage them, and we assess them, and depending on the seriousness and the time and distance, we you know, we take each one case by case. Just because you have a McNeil does not preclude you from applying or being successful in our process. But if you've got something specific that you want to chat about, reach out to any of us ahead of applying, and we can kind of guide you with that, or point you in the right direction anyway.
And further to that, if you have a complaint currently being investigated, say from your professional standards section or under the OPCC, you will not be eligible to move forward, but still you can reach out to us and we can talk about it. It's something that we'd have to, well, it's also case by case, but it's not as easily dealt with, but you can certainly still let us know and we can discuss it moving forward.
And then another question was, this person's in the supervisor role. Are there any supervisor roles open in the SPS? Want to take that one, Cindy?
Sure, yeah. There are currently not any external supervisor roles available, but that's what I was saying, that general posting would be where you would put in and apply to, because we are anticipating that there will be some. So I don't know, I really can't even speculate at this point where they might be, other than to say my thought would be most likely frontline, but we have to balance giving those opportunities for people that are already here and have been here and are eligible for promotion or to move around in the agency. So we will make sure that, and of course the union is very cognizant of this as well, making sure we give our members that have been here in the trenches and came when things were difficult, give them the opportunity to either promote or move into positions. But at the same time, we're building, right? And we're expanding. So we anticipate there may be some more spots for the sergeant level coming up. So no, the answer is no right now, but there's potential. So please put your application into that general posting, experienced officer posting, and we'll connect with you and talk about what you're interested in, and then we'll put you on that list, and we will then, when and if those opportunities come forward, we'll discuss with you about moving forward into the recruiting process or competition.
And then there was a follow-up to the McNeil one. Reach out to one of us directly with your questions, and we can talk about that. It's basically, yes, we look at it, and we send it to our professional standards section to assess, you know, if there's a complaint. We need all of the documentation for that, including the final investigative report. But it is case by case. So we absolutely can look at it going forward.
And we recognize that, complaints happen, right? Investigations happen. And like Rich said, our PSS will assess sort of their view on it, but they have to have all the documents in order to do a proper assessment. And then our executive as well is really the final decision maker in terms of whether or not they're comfortable with that current investigation or the past McNeil.
And if that doesn't answer your question, just reach out to us and we can have an offline conversation about that. Any other questions?
It's got to be. I still see 10 people out there that are listening and watching. So if you've got a question, feel free to give it to us now, or we can see you offline. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think we're good. Thank you again, everybody. And we look forward to hearing from you guys offline, and maybe and hopefully seeing some applications come our way.
Thanks so much for taking the time. Have a good day.
Have a good day, guys.